Okay, I think we're good? Alright. This is my second attempt trying to record this whole thing, but... Hi. Hello. Welcome to what I call Summer of Prog. Maybe ripped off by JT Curtis, who knows. But this is something that I thought would be kind of a fun project, just listening to a bunch of prog. If you don't know, if you're new to the channel or you've been following for a while and are like, what is this? I like games and all. Like, I'm primarily a video game channel, but I also love music. Particularly rock, prog, jazz fusion, stuff like that. So, this is kind of a thing I want to do, just going over everything I listened to over the summer, and just kind of talking about it, just how I feel about each album, or record, whatever you call them. And it's my first real music-focused video for the channel, so I hope that you guys enjoy the change of pace. It's gonna be totally unscripted, just me talking about music that I love, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. So let's get right into it. Made a little slideshow here. I just got Spire music in the background, so nothing copyrighted. So I have a little slideshow here. I have the album cover, title, and some notes, and also the genre and year and my star rating from 1 to 5 stars. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, but there's no 1-star albums here. I think these are all... I like every album in this presentation, so here we go. Chicago. I love Chicago. I didn't really know about them before listening to this debut, but I heard the name, and this really took me by surprise. It's really kind of intense at times. Not heavy, but just like... there's a lot going on, and the arrangements are amazing, and it's got horns, so it's got kind of a jazz feel, but it's also very much rock and progressive and funky here and there, and it's got, you know, some blues influence, and freeform guitar is just weird. It's like free improvisation, just weirdness, but it's all great, and it's got great pop hooks, you know. Beginnings, question 67, 68. Does anybody know what time really know what time it is? You know, introduction. Just good stuff all around, you know. And Liberation, the final track, the 14-minute epic, is just monstrous. So I really love this album. I love every song on it. Well, not every song, but I like most of it a lot. So, yeah, very, very good. And it's from 1969. It's an old album. It's early, especially in the genre of prog. But I think it really nailed it for how old it is. So, yeah, very good stuff. So this is Camel. I like Camel a lot. This is their debut. They're not a band I've explored a ton of, but I really like this album. It's kind of jazzy. It's got a lot of organ, which I like. Organ's one of my favorite instruments. And yeah, Andrew Latimer and Pete Bardens both play a lot of great solos on here. And I kind of like that it's more laid back. It has a very interesting sound. It's not quite like other prog, where it's, you know, really intense or like kind of chaotic, you know. It's more mellow, which I kind of like. But it is definitely jazzy. It is a little bit of a Canterbury thing going on. But also it has some symphonic stuff, you know. Mystic Queen, very kind of symphonic and a little bit mysterious. But then you have the stuff like Aruba Loba, which is more intense, and you have 6/8, which is definitely very jazzy. So yeah, great stuff. Speaking of jazz, we got Vandergraaf Generator Pawn Hearts. This is definitely a jazz-influenced album, but also kind of avant-garde, and just how strange it is, and how Peter Hamill just kind of has this insane vocal range. Just going like, you know, from super high up to lower, like, and just a couple lines. So a lot of variance there. Robert Fripp is on this. There's not a lot of guitar, but he does make a statement. Like, the little guitar solo on Plague of Lighthouse Keepers is great. And yeah, I don't know, this album, it's probably the hardest one to get into in this entire lineup. It's definitely not for everybody, but I really like it, so I'm glad I checked it out. And I know they have other ones like Still Life and what else? I forgot the names. I know Still Life is one, and I don't remember the other ones, to be honest. But they're ones I want to explore in the future more. So yeah, neat band. I'm excited to check out more from them. This is one that my friend recommended to me, Happy the Man. They're kind of, I guess you could say they're jazz rock, but they're also like symphonic and also ambient. There's a lot of synthesizer on here. There's a lot of kind of spacey instrumental passages. It's mostly instrumental. There's a couple vocal songs, but it's mostly kind of ambient, and it's kind of relaxing. I really like that. Also, the notes I took are very rudimentary. I wouldn't really pay much attention to those. I mean, they are helpful, but like, I mean, they do have some information that I'm not really willing to say with my voice, or really care to say with my voice. But they are very kind of basic, like, you know, I like this, I like that, you know. I'm not a music critic. I'm really not. But they kind of go into a bit more detail. And yeah, I mean, the opening track, Starborn, Stumpy meets the Firecracker and Stencil Forest, which is a bit more jazzy, kind of like a Gentle Giant song. Yeah, great stuff. You know, I'm gonna be saying a lot great stuff. So this is Kansas. This is another American band. Oh, by the way, Happy the Man is also an American band. I believe they're from, I think they're from New York, if I'm not mistaken. Kansas is obviously not from New York. They are from, well, Kansas. And this is a really cool album. Very kind of, definitely symphonic, but also a bit heavy. And Steve Walsh is one of my favorite prog singers of all time. I just think that man has an amazing voice, or did anyways. I've heard his voice kind of was shot over the years. But he sounds great on this. The violin's great, kind of gives it that classical feel. And yeah, every song, I mean, Miracles Out of Nowhere, Opus Insert, Cheyenne Anthem, Magnum Opus, which I think could have been a bit longer, maybe had a bit more variety to it, but still a great track. You know, The Wall is just jaw-dropping, just that vocal, especially live. Like, listen to the live version of that song, it kills. So, yeah, Kansas are a great band. I'm excited to listen to more of them, and this is just, you know, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be kind of like, I mean, it is a little bit AOR. It's a bit poppy. It has some pop hooks for sure, but it also has a lot of synth and organ and violin, and it has a classical feel. And there is some time changes here and there, like on Miracles Out of Nowhere, where it has a 7/4 or 7/8 section. So, I'd say it's definitely a prog album. My mic just fell over. It tends to do that. This is a contentious one, Steely Dan Asia. Are Steely Dan prog? I say no in the notes, but honestly, they maybe like progressive pop in some instances. They're definitely jazz influenced. Like Asia, the title track, that's a jazz fusion song without a doubt. Like that is just, it's jazz fusion with lyrics, I would say. And Wayne Shorter's on there. There is a lot of pop hooks, like on Josie and Peg. And what else? Deacon Blues has a poppy kind of thing. But like, there is a lot of just like, you really listen to the instrumentals, like, there is a lot more, you know, there's a lot of technical playing going on that you wouldn't listen to, or you wouldn't notice on first listen. Like, there is a lot in each track, a lot of different layers, and the production helps make those layers stand out, and, you know, it kind of is like a fun treat listening to each song and picking out the different little bits and textures and going back on a second listen and finding even more, and I don't know. This is not my favorite album by them, but I think it's great, and I gave it 5 stars, so that obviously means I very highly regard it. So, we'll get to the other one later that I love even more. So Billy Cobham Spectrum. Billy Cobham played with Miles Davis and then kind of did like a little solo career. With got Jan Hammer on here. Who's the guitarist? I think his name was Tommy Bolin, right? I believe. Great guitar, great synth on this. The synthesizer work is just nutty. Like, especially on Quadrant 4, where it kind of just like makes like laser noises. It just is super chaotic. But also has a kind of a funky feel on some songs. And, you know, of course, Billy Cobham's great, playing those really fast fills. It's not about just fast fills. I mean, he has just great technique and command over the drums. Can you tell I'm not really a musician? I don't have much to say. But he's good. I enjoy his playing, I can say that much. And yeah, it's just a blast from start to finish. No real ballads or anything like that. Just a really great funky album. And I quite enjoy it. Same with Supertramp. I mean, this is one that I had to listen to a couple of times before I really got it. But Hide in Your Shell is amazing. Asylum is amazing. School, Bloody Well Right. You know, great, like, just classic pop rock songs. But I think there is... The prog bit is, like, the orchestrations and the saxophone and, like, the extended song structures. Like, those make it prog. And the topics, too, the lyrical topics about isolation and, you know, mental health not quite fitting in with everybody else and everyone kind of questioning you, like, are you just pretending or are you actually insane? Like, that kind of, to me, and that to me was very, like, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Kind of reminded me of Brain Damage. So, definitely has a prog element. And also the heavy usage of keyboards makes it very progressive as well. Just all those, like, I think it's an electric piano. That's the primary thing. A lot of electric piano definitely gives it that kind of like almost like an ECM. Not at all like ECM, but like it has elements of the ECM sound with that piano and the production. But it's way more of like a pop rock, art rock. But I don't know. I really enjoy it. The only thing I don't like, I think the closer is kind of weak. I think Crime of the Century is a fine song, but like, I think it could have been, I think if maybe they made Asylum the closer, that would have been even better. Like, sequencing does matter a lot on an album. So, or you know what? No. Rudy. Have Rudy be the closer. That would be perfect. But, like, you could have maybe, what is it? You could have the poppy side, you could have, like, let me think, School, Bloody Well Right, Dreamer, Asylum. Or no, Dreamer, and then Crime of the Century. Then you could have Hide in Your Shell, Asylum, what's the name of the other song? I forget what its name is. But have it end with Rudy. I think that would be perfect. But that's just how I feel. So Todd Rundgren's Utopia, this is another one that kind of took a bit to get into. It's a long album, it's almost 60 minutes long. And it's a single album too, so there's the Icon, the Epic, the Icon, which is 30 minutes, goes through many different sections. Some of it which just is like really kind of weird and like spacey synth stuff. Then it kind of comes like a bit like up-tempo near the end, and I don't know, it's just weird. It's a weird album, but I really dig it. It has 3 keyboard players on it, so definitely unique in that sense. Most prog bands have only 1 keyboard player that just does everything, but 3 definitely gives it a lot of color. And you know, it's Todd Rundgren, so it's pop, right? And there is some pop here for sure. Freedom Fighters is definitely very, has a catchy chorus, but it's also very much prog. There are some odd time signatures. There are a lot of these beautiful synth passages. It kind of gets almost, not quite ambient, but definitely borders on space rock. which is why I gave it the space rock tag. But also it does have a jazz element. And yeah, I'd say this is one where if you listen to it, you gotta listen to it all the way through. It definitely is not an easy listen, especially on your first go-around. But I think the icon is just amazing. I love Utopia theme, I love Freak Parade, Freedom Fighters. The whole thing is great. I mean, check it out for sure. It might not grow on you right away, but, it may take some time to grow on you if you find yourself wanting to come back to it after the first listen. But I would say, yeah, it's really, really good. And I'm kind of become obsessed with Todd Rundgren now. I love Wizard of True Star, and I'm gonna probably do that. Well, I've only listened to half of Wizard True Star. I love the medley. I don't know the rest of it. I still need to actually listen to the other half, but next summer I think I'll do that, which will be starting in a couple weeks actually. So you'll probably be seeing that if I do a 2025 video. So yeah, but I love that, and I love like Hello It's Me, and Couldn't I Just Tell You, Don't You Ever Learn, Sons of 1984. I mean, just a lot of just great quirky pop songs. So I quite like Mr. Rundgren. So Kansas, again, this is actually one I got on vinyl a while back. Song for America is getting a 5 stars almost purely for Lamplight Symphony. That song is just towering. I mean, they only played it live, I think, a couple times in full, but the live version on YouTube is incredible, with the extended keyboard opening. And yeah, I mean, the lyrics are really, really, they're still relevant to this day. The lyrics for Song for America, just talking about what America started out as and what it became through, colonization and genocide and whatnot. I mean, there's a bloody history behind America, and it's not afraid to talk about that, which I respect a lot. And I think it's especially for a band from America to be singing about that, not something you really hear about much in music, especially from back in the day. I mean, especially for a prog band, having kind of topical lyrics like that, facing our own history. And I'd say it's definitely symphonic in the violin and the synthesizers, and this, I think, is really, more of a prog album than Left Overture, but I think Left Overture is better. But this one's more proggy though, because it has 3 of those epic tunes. It has Song for America, Lamplight Symphony, and Incommodra, which I kind of find a bit forgettable, but still, there is the drum solo on there, but I still like listening to it a lot. And The Devil Game and Down the Road are both a lot of fun. Wilmy Street's kind of boring, but the rest of it I think is really good. So, and Steve Walsh and Robbie Steinhardt, both great vocalists. They both sing on here, they both sound really good. So yeah, I'd say it's a winner. Had to have Zappa. I love Zappa. So Frank Zappa, Waka Jawaka. This is part of his kind of big band jazz period. Really, it's all about the 2 epics, Big Swifty, Waka Jawaka. A lot of electric piano, some guitar here and there. It's actually not super focused on guitar. Same with Grand Wazoo, but I just love the composition and how these kind of like arrangements kind of weave in and out of each other, and how they kind of return back to that, previous motifs. They kind of sweep in and out, and I don't know, it's really, really unique, because Zappa always was like the oddball in the fusion scene. That was kind of his thing, but I really like it. The middle songs I'm not crazy about. I forget what they're... Your Mouth is one of them, right? And the One Shot Deal. Those I'm not crazy about. But the epics are really, really good. So Miles Davis, Jack Johnson. This is basically John McLaughlin, the album. If you like John McLaughlin, this is for you. He is all over this album. It kind of borders on psychedelic or hard rock on that first side. And especially when it gets to like that boom, like that intense organ, like it just kind of punches you in the face. from Herbie Hancock, and yeah, this is really, really good. Side 2 is a bit forgettable, but it has that little In a Silent Way reference, which is kind of cool. But Side A is just crazy. I think it's the most rock that Miles ever got. And, you know, as always, great trumpet playing from him. Oh, the stuff on the bottom is on. Let's not ignore that. But, yeah, great album. So Star Castle was another recommendation from a friend of mine. This is another American prog band. Heavily derided as... Is that the word derided? Derided? Heavily criticized for being a Yes clone. And they do sound like Yes, they really do. There are some vocal harmonies that are very much like John and Chris and Steve. The bass definitely has a Yes sound. There's a lot of keyboards. And I think that's kind of, you know, it kind of just sounds like Yes, like going for the one a little bit. And it's not really, I don't know, I wasn't really impressed with it. I think there's some good stuff. I think Lady of the Lake is a great epic, you know, 10 minutes long, good start to the album. But the rest of it I'm not really crazy about. It's pleasant, but like, I don't find it to be particularly adventurous. Like, you listen to, like, Close to the Edge or Relayer, those are crazy albums. This is kind of just like, eh. Like, I guess it's proggy a little bit. It's kind of like prog, but also pop. Like, it definitely has, like, a, you know... And Yes already were kind of poppy, but this is definitely, like, poppy. So, I don't know. It's okay. That's really all I can say about it. It's okay. Journey, another American band. I'm sure we all know Journey for Don't Stop Believin', right? That's the big one. Separate Ways, Wheel in the Sky. Those kind of like big stadium rockers. But this first album is actually pretty cool. It's more of a jazz rock fusion album. Ainsley Dunbar's on this, who famously played with Zappa. And I really dig it. Kohoutek is great. Mystery Mountain's great. To play some music. And Of a Lifetime is what it's called, my bad. A lot of organ, a lot of, you know, biting guitar. Just great stuff. And my one complaint is the vocals, just because they're not, like, super amazing. And some of the songs are kind of, like, you know, not quite hitting it for me. But I was impressed. I really like this album a lot, and definitely very different from later Journey. I'm not going to say that I hate later Journey, but I don't really care for them either. So, I'm excited to look at, like, you know, their other prog albums from the early days. From the 70s anyways, right? So, maybe I'll cover those in the future. We'll see. Genesis. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. This one was very confusing for me. This is the one where he gets his penis cut off, right? You know, you have the Slipperman, the Chamber of 32 Doors, the Waiting Room, which is just a crazy fucking song. And Tony Banks, I think, is at his best on here. And Steve Hackett's great. Not a lot of Steve Hackett, but when he does play, it's really, really good. And just a weird story with a lot of just twists and... Yeah, twists and turns, you could say. The ending is just bizarre. And... I mean, everything about it's bizarre. But it's very dark, too. Like, you know... Genesis could have dark lyrics, but always kind of like a bright, you know, warm sound to them. This is very cold sounding for Genesis. But I think it's cool. I think it's really, really cool. It's a cool rock opera, and I gotta listen to this one again, actually. It's been a while, but I love, like, In the Cage, and The Lamia, and Slipperman, and Back in NYC, you know. A lot of great stuff on here. So it's a double album, so it's very long, but I think it's worth the trip. So Santana is a band that has some shared DNA with Journey. Neil Schon and Greg Rowley were in both. And this kind of feels like the precursor to that first Journey album in a way, although it's more kind of relaxed and a bit softer. It's more jazzy for sure. This one I think could have had some better sequencing. I feel like some of the songs I really like, but they do kind of blend together, and it is mostly instrumental, which I think is good, but also the individual pieces could have stood out more. Like, Stoneflower I really enjoy, but the other stuff, which I don't even remember the names of, they're kind of long and like, you know, fanciful names. But I don't know. This might be a grower for me. Maybe I just gotta listen to it more. You know, maybe I'll eventually get it. You know, but I still really like it. So that's all I'll say about that. So this is the debut Return to Forever, which is Chick Corea's band. Chick Corea and I believe Stanley Clark are on this first one. And Flora, I forget her last name, does vocals, which are a little bit odd to get used to, but I really enjoy the album in spite of that. And sometimes she adds to it with her vocalizations, kind of adds some intensity. And again, so I'm talking about that ECM sound, that electric piano, really kind of brings an ambient edge to it. And yeah, Chick Corea is one of my favorite keyboard players. He's great on Romantic Warrior especially, but this one is really solid too. More of a pure jazz, but either way, really good. Ugh, we're getting there. Camel, again, this is a Mirage. This is, I think, my favorite one so far. And it sounds like the desert, which I said in my notes, because it has that kind of like, I don't know, warmth to it, but also a little bit of mystery. The Mellotron definitely helps a lot. I love Nimrodel and Lady Fantasy. Earthrise is great. Super Twister and Freefall. You know, it's all really good. And there is a little tiny bit of jazz, but it's more about symphonic prog and like extended kind of suites, like, you know, sweeping arrangements and that kind of thing. But I love it, and at least check out Nimrodel. I think you'll dig it. So this is Styx. I'm not really sure if they're prog, honestly. I think they're kind of prog. You know, there's a lot of keyboards, but they're definitely very poppy. And this one kind of sounds like, you know, like, oh, we like Yes, we like Genesis, we like Rush. Well, Rush were kind of just starting at this time, actually. But we like all of those bands. Let's kind of just do that, but make it poppy. And the lyrics are just dreadful. What is it? The every night's a holiday when I look into your eyes, just kind of like, just sappy nonsense, you know. You know, Sweet Madam Blue is pretty cool, but, you know, Lorelei, there's some good pop hooks here and there, but I don't know, calling it prog I think is a bit of a stretch, personally. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's not a terrible album, but it's also a bit disappointing, I would say. Synergy, Audion, is really cool. Now, I actually first knew this from Rob Hubbard, from the C64 works. He covered 2 of these songs and put them in C64 games, Shibboleth and Ancestors, or Shibboleth, however you say it. But it's a lot more than that. Terminal Hotel, Electric Blue, An End to History, those are all great tracks, and the first side is definitely progressive rock. I mean, it's all electronic, but like, it sounds like a real guitar. I mean, it really does. I can't tell if it's electric or like a synthesizer, but really cool sounds. It gets a bit kind of like weird. It almost kind of sounds like, just like, I don't know, just weird like classical music near the end. But still a cool album. I think Electric Blue is worth checking out. And Ancestors is great too. So, way better than the Commodore 64 arrangements, or rather copies, because they were ripped off, basically. So Griffin are a pretty cool band. They're more of a folk band, actually. Like when they first started off, it was just pure medieval folk. But this kind of has that prog rock feel. There's some synthesizer, there's some electric guitar. and it's all instrumental. There's 4 songs, they're all really long, and I like kind of like how fantastical it is. It's like little, like, it's like elf music, you know? It's very kind of whimsical and very fantasy themed, and, well, it's medieval themed, you know, it's medieval folk inspired. But I like opening move and checkmate. Checkmate's great. One I think I need to spend more time with, though, to kind of get into it and really, you know, enjoy all 4 pieces to their you know, highest highs. But I dig this album, I really do. So, and I like other Griffin songs too. I think Spring Song is great. Sounds a bit like Genesis, but still really good. So Jeff Beck, Wired. This one was a bit confusing because Jeff Beck, I feel like, isn't on here that much. And like, I'm a big Jeff Beck fan, but I feel like this is more about Jan Hammer than Jeff Beck. Like, he just plays a lot of great shit on here. And Lead Boots is super heavy. And to me, this is more of a fusion album than Blow by Blow. And Blow by Blow definitely is all about Jeff Beck and his guitar. This one's kind of more funky, but it's great. I just feel like it needed more Jeff Beck, honestly. I mean, it's cool though. Like, there is more of like a band vibe, but I also would have liked to hear more, because I feel like some songs just didn't have much solos, like guitar solos. It was more about keyboard solos, which I love keyboards. I'm a keyboard player, but also, like, it's called Jeff Beck. I want to hear Jeff Beck. That's just me though. But, you know, maybe I could pick up on more next time I listen to it. Who knows? Maybe there's more that I was missing. Mort Garson, kind of a weird, oddball artist. I don't know much about him, but this is one of his most famous, is Mother Earth's Plantation. This was a very rare album for a long time. You could only get it from, like, buying a plant at a certain store, or a mattress. It's a weird, like, pack-in album. But it's all electronic. It kind of sounds like video game music, but it's really kind of, it's very soothing. I quite like it. The title track is beautiful. And, it's all about plants, you know, they're all named after different plants. And, I don't know, it's kind of one you have to listen to for yourself. It's pretty short, it's only about a half hour long. But I think it's a cool album, and I really enjoy listening to it. It's a nice, breezy 30 minutes, and I like the theme. I like how pretty it sounds. It's very warm sounding for being all synth music. So, I think it's cool. Gentle Giant, Power into Glory. This is one, I love Octopus, but this one also is really good. It has Playing the Game, it has Cogs and Cogs. It has the... What's the opening called? I forget. But I like a lot of it, but there's also stuff like So Sincere, which I'm not crazy about. It definitely gets into the weird, avant-garde territory at times. But it has some good, groovy stuff to it. You know, I say it can be really groovy in the notes. So, obviously, I think it's groovy. And again, well, not again, I don't know why I'm saying again. It's getting late, I'm kind of not quite there. But it's a very short album, but there's a lot going on. So it's kind of chaotic and like, it's like ADHD music, but I enjoy that. I do prefer Octopus though. So Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy, this is my favorite. Countdown to Ecstasy is what it's called. I think it's better than Asia because I like Your Gold Teeth, I like Showbiz, Kids, My Old School, King of the World, Bodhisattva, Razor Boy. I mean, I like the whole thing. And I just like that it's more of a band on this one. It's not just a bunch of session musicians. I mean, there are some, but it's more pop rock, but also, like, Your Gold Teeth is very jazz fusion-y. And I think just the lyrics are a lot of fun. you know, showbiz kids making movies of themselves. They don't give a fuck about anybody else, right? You know, great lyrics, kind of odd at times, but the music also matches the lyrics. It just has a cool sound to it. Cool kind of, you know, Steely Dan were truly their own thing. Like, you couldn't easily classify them. They're rock, but they're also jazz, but they're also funk, but they're also pop. They're a lot of different things. They're all that and more, which is why I love them. So this is Mahavishnu Orchestra. Before I listened to Visions of the Emerald Beyond, which has a different lineup from this one, and this has Jan Hammer and Billy Cobham on it. And they do some great playing. It's a really intense album. I think Noonward Race is my favorite, but I also like Lotus on Irish Streams. And what else? I forgot the other song names, but I like a lot of it. It is a bit much to take in. And I think this one requires more listening, but I enjoy it a lot. I want to listen to Birds of Fire next for sure, because it's the same lineup as this. But I think it just needs more time for me to soak it all in. It's a lot to take in, so. But, yeah, and John McLaughlin, you know, always one of the best guitar players of all time. Like, without a doubt, one of the best. So Eoway are a cool German band. This is called Inside. This is kind of like spacey, psychedelic, hard rock. It kind of reminds me of Deep Purple. A lot of organ. And the thing that makes this album is Land of Nobody, the 17-minute epic, which is just great epic. Goes through a couple different sections. Then the ending kind of is like the however it goes, something like that. It has kind of like this galloping riff to it. It's a lot of fun. I really like it. But side 2, I'm not crazy about. And Frank Bornemann has a certain vocal style that you either, like, I don't think anybody really loves it. You either tolerate it or you hate it. Like, I don't know. I don't mind it, but they're obviously not great. My favorite Eloy album is Ocean, so we're not talking about that today, because I already listened to it. That was for before this. That was just for me wanting to listen to it on its own. But we'll see him again later on. Genesis Trespass, this has Anthony Phillips and John Mayhew instead of Steve Hackett and Phil Collins. And I think Steve and Phil were better, but I also like both of them on this album. I think they work with the more kind of folky feel. It's definitely softer than the later stuff, but the knife is great. I love how kind of spastic the drumming is. It's like, it's kind of like primal in a way, but I do like it. It's not as refined as Phil, but I do dig it. And Stagnation is just a beautiful song. I love that song. One of my favorite Genesis tracks, period. Pat Metheny, Bright Side's Life. This is pure jazz, I would say. A little bit fusion, because it has, you know, it's guitar focused, not piano or keyboard focused. But there's no rock on here, but it has that ECM quality of being a bit ambient and kind of dreamy. And I really like Omaha Celebration in particular. So, yeah. And of course it's got Jaco Pastorius, so that makes it, you know, that makes basically any album 10 times better when he's on there. Genesis Nursery Crimes, so we got more Genesis. Finally have Steve and Phil join the band. And Musical Box is great, Hogweed's great, Fountain of Salmacis is great. Fountain of Salmacis, rather. But it's also like, there's a lot of kind of filler stuff, and it's a bit weird because this album is less than 40 minutes long. It's their shortest album, but it does feel like, you know, Harlequin and Harold the Barrel, they're kind of, they're quirky little songs, you know. They're not quite, like, they're not Genesis classics or anything. There's kind of like, okay, we want to hear the epics, not these like little weird side songs. I think live, these songs killed. Like Musical Box live is amazing. On the album, it's great, but not as good as it is live. But I think, they both sound great. Phil proves himself to be a really good singer on, what's that song? For Absent Friends. So, definitely shows where they're going towards Foxtrot and then selling England, for sure. Chicago, again, we have Chicago 2. This is kind of them becoming even proggier by doing extended suites. So we have, Ballet for a Girl in Buchanan. You have I think, what is it, the Morning Suite? Whatever it is, the classical orchestral one. And you have It Better End Soon, which is a great anti-war piece with a lot of great guitar and organ on it. Terry Kath, as usual, just, gone too soon. Gone way, way too soon. One of the best guitar players of all time. There are a couple songs I don't care for, like Where Do We Go From Here, and like Wake Up Sunshine, not amazing songs. But I respect the ambition. And there's a lot of stuff that's great on here, like 25 or 64. But I also like Poem for the People, and In the Country, and Fancy Colors. Great stuff. So Rush Farewell to the Kings. This has my favorite Rush epic on it, Xanadu. The rest of it, I'm not quite crazy about. I like the title track, and I like Cygnus X1. I like Closer to the Heart, but I don't know, maybe I was a bit spoiled by Moving Pictures, honestly. I think it's great, but Moving Pictures to me is just way more consistent. But it's cool seeing them to, evolve into more of a progressive sound, doing some different stuff with time, and some more kind of cryptic and just weird lyrics, kind of fantasy lyrics. But Rush is the band I gotta explore more of, but I do really like this album and 2112 and Moving Pictures. So, the music just turned off. That's weird. I just noticed that. Oh well. We don't have much more left, so I think we can get through this quickly. YouTube does that where, like, if you are gone for too long, it just turns off. But anyways, Jethro Tull. I love Jethro Tull. This is... I think every album I've listened to has been amazing, like, perfect 5-star album. Like, they're all great. And this one is no different. This is more of a folk album. It's kind of autumnal and outdoorsy, but I quite like that. I love Cup of Wonder. I love the title track. I love Hunting Girl. I love what else? Ring Out Solstice Bells, the kind of Christmas song. Jack in the Green. I mean, it's all really good, all good stuff. And the synthesizers on here, I don't know, they kind of give it like a homely, like, warm feeling, even though it's synthesizers, but something about them I really enjoy. I don't know what it is. And Ian's voice is a little bit more haggard on this album, but I like that. So, yeah, and of course, he this is the flute prog band, he is the man when it comes to the flute. I mean, he is just great. Great. Tangerine Dream Phaedra, I think is how you say that, has that long epic on side 1, which is kind of creepy and atmospheric. It's not rock at all. It's all electronic, but it is proggy because it has the Mellotron on it and it has that kind of atmospheric spacey vibe. But I have to be in a certain mood to really enjoy this one, because otherwise it falls flat a little bit. But Sequence C is really, I don't know what it is. It's very avant-garde, but the flute on it is like, I don't know. For me, it just takes me places. Just that kind of like, it sounds so open. Like, I don't know. I like it. I really do. So Flying Lotus, producer for Tip and a Butterfly and other various things, It's called You're Dead. This is a pure fusion album. There is a little bit of rap here and there, some hip hop, some kind of like ambient stuff, some electronic, but it is very much jazz influenced. Herbie Hancock's on this, Jeff Lynne's on this, Snoop Dogg is on this, which is pretty funny. You know, you never think that Snoop Dogg would have anything to do with Prog, but here we are. Um, Reading about it, it said that Flying Lotus, Steve Nelson, was very influenced by Pink Floyd and Soft Machine while making this. And I gotta be honest, the later kind of ambient sections reminds me of The Lamb. Like it sounds like The Lamb a little bit, like the stuff like with the Silent Stars and Empty Boats and the Lamia reminds me of that. And I like Kendrick, so I like the track that features him, Never Catch Me. But it's one you got to listen to from start to finish. You really do. It's great stuff. Eloy Planets. This is very much a spacey. This is less of the kind of deep purple psychedelic hard rock and more of like a Pink Floyd or almost like Camel. Reminds me of Camel actually. That very dense, spacey synth arrangements. There is some orchestra too. Um, I feel like just I don't know. Something about Ocean was really magical to me. I think Planets is great, but also like there's only a couple tracks I really like Point of No Return and On the Verge of what is it called? On the Verge of Darkening Lights, I think. And I believe there's Sphinx is one I like as well. I think. I don't know. I can't remember things too well, but it's just I don't know. There is a concept, but it's not quite there for me. I just think that Ocean is better, but I still like it a lot. I mean, it's no doubt about it. It's a great album. So Renaissance, Scheherazade, and Other Stories. This one is, you know, it's a bit. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Don't worry, we're getting there. It's a lot to cover in one video, but Annie Haslam is a great, just has this beautiful soaring voice. The orchestra on this is amazing. I love The Vultures Fly High. You know, Trip to the Fair, Ocean Gypsy, Song of Scheherazade, the big 20 plus minute epic. All great. And not very guitar focused. It's mainly piano and it's mainly piano driven, but I really enjoy it. This is very much a symphonic album. Like it's very classical sounding. So if you love symphonic prog, this is like required listening. You gotta check it out. We're almost there. So The Smile features Tom York and Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, but it also doesn't really sound like Radiohead that much. It's kind of its own thing. It's kind of jazzy and kind of like krautrocky a little bit. There's a lot of different time changes on here, and Tom York has this kind of like really high voice that he goes into a lot, but I do like that it's soft in some spots, heavy in others. It has that good dynamics. I think if I gave it more time, I'd really love it. It just has to sink in more. But because I listened to a lot of these and I kind of forgot about them and just went back to listening to Close to the Edge and stuff. Some of them really stuck with me, like Utopia, but we'll get to that later. But this is one where I think if I gave it more time, I'd really enjoy it because it is. I think this is a prog album. I mean, it's experimental. It does things that most rock albums don't. And I think, Radiohead and Radiohead's members should wear that on their sleeve, right? That prog influence. Because I think it's definitely there. And it is a little bit jazzy. And I don't know. I quite like it. So this is Nala Cinefro, someone I've never heard of before. But this album I saw because it was on Rate Your Music, and I want to check it out. By the way, these are both from 2024. I wanted to include two new albums for this, ones that just come out, and this one I loved. I mean, this one is one of my favorites of the entire selection. It's beautiful and ambient, Not really that jazzy. There is some jazz. Um, Nala plays harp on this in some spots, and I just love the flowing nature of it. I couldn't pick a favorite track, so I picked a favorite section. I think it's pretty easily divided into three parts, so I picked the middle section as my favorite. But again, you gotta listen to the whole thing in one go. It's just one of those things, right? You have to do the whole thing. All right, now for our rankings. We do our top 10 because who doesn't love a good ranking? This is YouTube after all. But first, the worst album was Star Castle, without a doubt. I almost picked Styx, but Star Castle just did not leave much of an impact on me. It's still decent, but not one I want to go back to anytime soon. I'm gonna be real here. But now for our real top 10. Number 10 was hard. I decided to go with Vandergraaf because of Plague of Lighthouse Keepers. That made me sneak it in. But there were other candidates too. It was very, very tough for number 10. Number 9 is Asia. Talked about Asia. It's, great classic songs on it. But like I said, I think Countdown to Ecstasy is better. I really do. I just like it's a bit more rock. It's a bit, not heavy, but it is a bit more like guitar focused than Asia is. So I like that. Renaissance is number 7. Just, again, beautiful album start to finish. No bad songs. Epic orchestrations. And Annie Haslam, once again, just a beautiful, beautiful singer. With a beautiful voice. 6 is Supertramp, Crime of the Century. This one, again, I had this ranked at 4 stars originally. This was a 4-star album. But once I let it soak in, pick up all the little production techniques and all the little bits and bobs, I grew to love it. I really did. Endlessness is number 5. I love just how ambient it is and how relaxing it is. It's just a great chill out album. Number 4 is Camel Mirage, mainly for Nimrodel and Lady Fantasy. Just those two epics are classics. Top 3. And honestly, I'm not even so sure about this top 3. I might change it if I did this list again. But Left Overture is number 3. Just great all the way through. Every song is a masterpiece. The Wall, magnum opus. Carry On Wayward Son, the big radio hit. But still pretty damn proggy for being like a radio rock staple. This was the one that really was a shock. Was Utopia at number 2. Because again, I had ranked this 4 stars. But something about it just really kind of grabbed my attention. Like, I just loved all the synths and all the colorful arrangements and just how quirky it was. And I love Todd's voice and his guitar playing. And all the guys are, great players. And I love how it's kind of like, just like this, like, explosion of music. Like, it's just all of these crazy ideas put together in one album, and it's great. And number 1 is Chicago. I mean, if you know me, you know that I completely fell in love with this album. It became like just my album for a while. I just would listen to this nonstop. And not every song is great, but the ones that are, I love a lot. And I love the jazz influence, and I love all the different various influences from blues to funk to pop. I mean, it covers a wide variety. It really does. So, and I'm glad I checked it out because this album is, I think, it's one of my like top 20 favorites now. I mean, I really love it, and I still listen to it. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is again a different video for me. It was a long video. But I hope you enjoyed me rambling for like, I don't know, an hour or so. I don't know how long this is. About music that I like. And if you want to see more of this, let me know and I'll do more. I might do one for 2025, which is starting very soon. So, we'll see. But that's it. I'm going to go. So, see you guys later.